Tiger General, the army of Wolf Kingdom is approaching our border, and they are going to invade us. The Emperor of Dragon Kingdom ordered me to take you back to lead our army. In a street, a rough-looking guy in dusty armor was begging with one knee on the ground. In front of the tough guy was a tall man in cheap clothes. He looked poor and ungroomed. I have retired for many years and have left those things behind. Tell the Emperor to find someone else. Poker-faced, Jeffrey Langdon said in a flat tone. Tiger General, please think about our kingdom. You are indispensable to the Dragon Kingdom. Liam Rivet was still pleading. Say no more of it. Jeffrey waved his hand and interrupted Liam. It is just an army of 300,000 men. Don't be so afraid. You can think of a way to meet the attack. My wife has asked to go to a dinner party with her, so I don't have time to dawdle here. Jeffrey got on his electric scooter and left after saying that. Liam froze there. He could not believe that Tiger General had got married. He thought the girl who was worthy of Tiger General of Defense must be someone from a noble family. Many people gathered at the Martindales to have a dinner party. They were talking and laughing at the table. Selena Martindale, the second daughter of the Martindale family, secured a contract from the Galaxy Group with the help of her fiancé, Audrey N. Chadwick. It was a great achievement, so the Martindales must hold a party to celebrate it. Sorry, I am late. I was busy with something just now. Thank you for waiting for me. Jeffrey suddenly strode into the room and apologized to everyone. The laughter in the room suddenly stopped. None of the Martindales bothered to be nice to a loser like him. Don't flatter yourself. Can't you tell? We have not been waiting for you at all, Selena's mother, Helen Smythe, said coldly. What kept you so long? Did your electric scooter break down? Selena's younger brother, Jacob Martindale, sneered. Jeffrey felt a bit awkward. He only said that to be polite, but he could never have thought that the Martindales would laugh at him for what he said. Luckily, he had become used to them ridiculing everything he said long ago. He didn't want to make a fool of himself any longer, so he just sat down quietly beside an exceedingly beautiful girl. She was Eliza Martindale, the eldest daughter of the Martindale family. She was Jeffrey's wife, even though they had never consummated. Eliza was the most beautiful girl in Grand South City and many guys' dream girl. But Brandon Martindale, Eliza's grandfather, forced her to marry Jeffrey and let Jeffrey married into the Martindale family 3 years ago. Everyone thought Brandon was out of his mind because Jeffrey had just retired from the army at that time. The most beautiful girl in Grand South City had married a poor guy. That was the biggest joke in Grand South City. Don't say anything. Just eat your dinner, Eliza whispered coldly. Got it. Jeffrey began to have his meal quietly. He was with a heavy heart as he remembered how Liam had begged him to go back to the army. Foreign enemies were approaching the border of his kingdom. He used to be the Tiger General of Defense. How could he just sit by? Jeffrey's arrival was just a small episode at the party. Soon, everyone forgot about Jeffrey and continued to chat with each other and joy. Our family will certainly become a noble family soon since we have established a connection with the Galaxy Group. Joan Martindale, head of the Martindale family, said with a big smile on her face. Yeah, what my son-in-law did was really impressive. He helped Selena get the contract immediately. He is totally different from someone else's son-in-law who only idles around. Reuben Martindale glanced at Jeffrey, who was eating with his head lowered. Reuben was Joan's second son. He was the father of Selena and Jacob. Reuben never got along well with Eliza's father, Craig Martindale, so he would not miss the opportunity to scoff at Craig and his family. That's right, Mr. Chadwick was born to a noble family, and he is an elite himself. He is incomparable, but someone only knows about idling around and eating. So just let him eat. You could look at it as you are keeping a dog. You won't go bankrupt just by providing food for a dog. Adrienne never liked Jeffrey. He was jealous of Jeffrey because the loser in his eyes had married the most beautiful girl in Grant South City. He thought Jeffrey was no match for Eliza at all. In Adrienne's eyes, Eliza was head and shoulders above Selena in terms of figure, face, personality, and talents. He hated Jeffrey for marrying Eliza. Otherwise, how would he lose to the idler and have to marry Selena, who paled beside Eliza in all aspects? A good man always got a plain wife, while a lazy man always got a pretty wife. Adrienne thought the proverb was so true. Yeah, I like dogs. I am keeping a Yorkshire Terrier. I don't mind feeding one more dog, Selena added to Adrienne's joke. Jeffrey suddenly became the target in the war of words. Jeffrey didn't say anything, but he still became the object of ridicule. Eliza felt so embarrassed that her face flushed pink and then turned pale. Eliza felt that laughing at Jeffrey was equivalent to laughing at her and humiliating her parents. Eliza blamed her late grandfather, Brandon, for putting her into such an awkward predicament. Brandon knew that Jeffrey was penniless when Jeffrey retired from the army 3 years ago. But Brandon insisted that Jeffrey must marry into their family and forced Eliza to marry Jeffrey. But Jeffrey was too poor to even hold a wedding at that time. But what's there to be so excited about? Don't get carried away by such a little thing. Jeffrey finally couldn't bear the ridicule any longer and said disdainfully, after Liam had asked to go back to the army, his emotions had surged up inside his chest. He had begun to see blades, horses, soldiers, dead bodies, and even blood again. But he kept losing his train of thought because of the noises around him. He was irritated. Everyone fell silent after hearing what Jeffrey just said. They could never have thought that the good-for-nothing who never dared to argue with them when they laughed at him in the past 3 years would talk back today. And what he just said was extremely arrogant. What did you just say? Do you think a loser like you can tell us not to get carried away? Joan was so furious that she almost coughed up blood. Any family can be rich if they can establish some kind of connection with the Galaxy Group. People from noble families are all respectful to the Galaxy Group because it is the king of the business world in Grand South City. If Jeffrey went back to the army and became a general again, he could make all citizens in Grand South City tremble, let alone those who ran the Galaxy Group. At that moment, a rough-looking guy in armor and with a sullen expression rushed into the room. Everyone but Jeffrey was startled. Please come back with me and become our general again. Liam got down on one knee in front of Jeffrey and began to plead as soon as he entered the room. He ignored the astonished look on others' faces at all. The other people in the room were all staring at Liam's slack-jawed. They just couldn't believe their eyes, and they had the same doubt who is Tiger General. Jeffrey stood up with his hands clasped behind his back while the rest were staring at him in astonishment. He no longer looked decadent. Instead, he looked as confident as the master of the world as he asked Liam a question. Dragon Kingdom boasts talented soldiers and brave generals. Can't you find someone else to lead the army in place of me? Liam was lost. Forward Schwenware fared. He thought, isn't the obvious? When he woldem fair dentaires. Bootha didn't afafata stay. Tiger General, you Arian expertentry. Nunes, more prestigiuentory, Thwena my troop sure offend. And Weckold wentwafentwaren lentlentelfultul, Lia manswer denalido. Evarion wassastor derafend. They just called Nov, Levis now. Any time at all think. Let's talk about it ain't. Jeffrey didn't twalafantantis, so hey had total evil. Tiger General, Eurythi mostum tauntaunt and juering despondring. Why am continue to fray? Heth otjifer frantilisti, hissa dreperted triffers. Buntly am supercaristi. Lia mustic jefifala craffic. Idident mater fefilarit. Otherwise, liam wold vicintans. Liam waskerdu fifinus. Hec nutha chfeffer benton effififif. Soliam followed. It seem medicifefa ferriste, how cold liambum. That is no. You're so annoying. I zadelt stalkabationty. Didn't you erm? No doubt affair. Jeffrey Wassingry. Heniel Duntbly Fentel. Yes, sir. Liam didn't territorator in aze. Had just untons, just like we went in. Everyone sat in deadly silence with their jaw dropped. It took them a while to recover from astonishment. Summy Anabaganto clap, and the rest falloutus. Jeffrey hadresiv endolef. Buddha twas the fear terrafimtum, so wasn't quitust. You didn't ned to pledle. Acquitted by Engeligenary. Jeffrey Spakishishintession. Hecker sedly am her tear. Jeffrey just want wed went head for nothing. Buntley amadex penteratizes. How cowl Jeff for frofen polly. Gin freritor dead a wintwint. Edident off a toffel of feffen sez. He Darius and Willick little lolitical Boot after Jeff Ringtink. Brand on a skedamilitaria mimi. Jeffrey Sadia Swishentusha. Headed in toit He'll accepted if out at a weddings. Jeffrey called Navorafert. He and his method efficient tef a fifth taff. They had to do in tortone tour. Jeffrey Smitherader Ted. Hugh is penniless, so he had to stop opportunities. Hugh wanted to cacopholish me meme. Hebig a dant pluvy darid, but noon sympathifirid. In his misthelplisterind, abendly stop didas. Angalabathishigera tariffed. So stes Jeff Rentanty. Her grandfa thurgerd end. That-kind-hearted girl was Eliza. Talager Landergant. Thossy old man of a Farafefiza. Thatakt Ofkins Barantezaneses. Butit mean Talathiferif. Tazi had helped Jeffreffin tis. Anna must return a Pfeffalidifs. And what if it was a bar af? Elizond Brandrafes mead slife. So Jeffrey can weted. Thwat was also fiflefentef if a flolulin. Heffelinlove wifiritif. Buthen was lom. So didn't Taratauton Torabi? When it grew older, Hesso Einad Herman Tirik. How was Sappointed Deliger, the top general of Faganjing. Hugh was a legend 30. For your sago, Themer Tindalafavakisha Kilidizizizizizizizisa. Jeffrey Wastel Tiffel 2, and he helped them tristies to nean in. Only Brandunk Wotot. Brendonal Signefalefuf. When Jeffrey retiras dwered, Brandon still in Stis 10, his favorite Tegrandrid. Mary Jeffrey. Jeffrey looked man Grant. Hin tad foreseen to front. You're, Bidalizical the Ferafinton. Shedded not na wadware and tef. Shahad help headmanply. On Jeffrey wash a foostone. Jeff rated it into fall fawfully. Head didn't go to fee faint and twanta but Bakash dead. Therto, high zed to bean and willefin teas. Hone cald war coffin toffin I how cald thetiger. How zed doliad and dory. Taku brandom jabarik skicks. He thought it to twastef our foffin men. Booth was also aiding. He was waiting for Tortente. Hilla Jeffrey was Miss Lisley. Some of the Diziden peak. That was Realianesh. I'll give you a whopper fex. Udzer Vethisipal. Jeffrey stiffened. Hadn't na wanna wong. He thought it to ask Goffrontanti. Jacob was the first intentins. Tiger General. Yuri the mostum tauntaunt. And you are into sponsoring. You are Irial Yugador. I saw'd have a bullifiterita wearier in it. Adrian also cooled a Cranduk. Jeffrey, Uriri Alu dash. Why didn't I go goo torks? You have a wastegeral. Theg I wo juiced lawful lofts. How mooch did it kosha me? And disarm more loose souls, where did you bew it? Why didn't I O'Gara fintify? Oh kel the loss or a larictory. Are you trying to ma tettle? Nobo die belly of fended aladded. They thought a titchwistus. Tontiel thuffa torif? Anger. And the thuffad twendwist.